everyone. This is Four Wide Media. Chris Nichols was with me earlier. Everett Everett Lentz is racing tonight. We've had a busy week. We had Eldora last night for high limit racing. We had uh, IndyCar in Iowa over the weekend. We had NASCAR in Sonoma. We had a lot going on, and we have a lot of racing news in the world to talk about. One of the big ones that's coming out is Our Motorsports. We also got news about 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. We've got dates coming up for next year. We got a lot going on. So as soon as Chris comes back on, here we go. Here he is. All right. Let's see. Hopefully we got these things going. Let's see if this worked. Add on. All right. There we go. Come on. There he is.
What's up, man?
All right. Hopefully this is enough of the issues. Well, Our Motorsports shutting down this over after the departure of Chris Wright. Apparently, there's rumors that there was financial issues with the team as to the reason why Chris Wright in the race. So, the question running it back now is, what's next for Kaz Grala, Chris Wright, and everybody that's involved in Our Motorsports? It's a big deal. It's a big deal coming out right now. We also had a whole bunch of other stuff happening in the news wise. Just a lot. So Formula One, we got Formula One, we got IndyCar, we got NASCAR, we got late models. We got currently right now. Chris, did we get this going finally?
Well, we'll see. I've switched from the gigabit internet to cell, so we'll see what happens here. This new Restream doesn't work too great.
Well, Our Motorsports shutting down after Dover this weekend. What are your thoughts on Our Motorsports shutting down?
It's a sad deal. Anytime a team, especially a long tenured team, and that's Andy Seiss's team, Our Motorsports has been around for about a decade. I think they've run some ARCA races, some truck races, some Xfinity races. For the last couple of years, they've been in the Xfinity series. Just kind of seems like very, very sudden. They cut ties with Chris Wright after Sonoma. And then this week they were going to put Kaz Grala in the 5 car, and now I guess they are done. They're going to close up operations at the close of the event at Dover.
Mm-hmm. So upon reading, it sounds like it's it might possibly be a financial issue.
Is
what it's looking like.
It makes me really wonder, was the sponsor even paying the bills over there? You see it all the time. The way NASCAR does business, you have to have sponsorship dollars to be a competitive team. And if the sponsor's not paying the bills and you're being written IOUs and those IOUs fall through, we've seen that over the years. I think it even happened to Rusty Wallace in the middle of his 1989 championship run when he was with Blue Max.
I think it did.
They were having cash flow issues towards the end of the season where I think guys were having to pay for tires out of their own pocket. If I remember correctly, the crew chief was having to buy tires out of his own pocket towards the end of the season there. And it's well documented. I think there's an interview on the Scene today, or what it's on It's on YouTube. But they were talking to an ex Blue Max employee back in the day when Tim Richmond was driving for them, and they were at a track, and Goodyear would not mount any more tires for them because Blue Max wrote them a bad check, and he ended up having to personally guarantee a check out of his own account and then demand reimbursement from the owners of Blue Max, which they were involved in the NHRA at the same time as they were operating that team in the Cup Series back then. So
yeah,
again, it could be management issues. It could be the sponsor not paying the bills, which may be why they kicked Chris Wright when they did, and as sudden as sudden as they did. We'll never know. Yeah, maybe we can get Andy Seiss on the show. Maybe we could shed some light on that. There may be some stuff tied up in litigation where that can't happen. Who knows?
Because I did shortly after the release, I did reach out to Chris Wright for comment. I'm still waiting for a response.
Yeah. It's as much flack as he's gotten. You kind of hate it for him, but
yeah,
it's.
I mean, it reminds me of what one race team. I think it was like in a 2010 Cup Series team in the middle of the season. Was it Phoenix Racing? I remember. I cannot remember.
Oh, there was a couple race teams that kind of hastily closed up shop. There was a lot of long tenured teams that closed up shop back in the 2000s. I remember Larry Hedrick, the 41 car that was sponsored by Kodiak for the longest time, signed a deal with Big Daddy's barbecue sauce, and Big Daddy's never paid the bill. They were on the car. They had Rick Mast in the car, and they never paid a dime to be in that on that car. And I think they even burned an IndyCar team too. So there's a lot of companies out there that want to see their name on a car, and kind of never pay the bill. So you never know. I mean, it may be something where, like I said, we may get an answer on it. We may be able to bring them on the show, or we may have to wait until after the litigation gets ironed out. But you hate to see it for Andy Seiss. R Motorsports has been around a long time, and who knows what's going to happen from here on out. Hope to see him come back.
Because I look at it this way. It's like, I look at it this way. I hate seeing drivers lose their ride in the middle of the season. Like, for example, Hailie Deegan last year lost her ride in the middle of the season.
Yeah, there's sometimes that you gotta, I don't know if it's funding or if it's just, they've seen enough and they moved on. But because of the timing, it makes me wonder if that FNB Bank or whoever that is that's on the 5 car, if they were actually paying the bill, or if they were kept writing IOUs and said, "Hey man, yeah, I'll pay you next week. I'll pay you next week. I'll pay you next week." And then Andy eventually had to say, "You're not paying us. We got to make a move." Again, this is all speculation, but because of the timing, I have an inkling that may be the issue, but we'll see what happens here in the following couple weeks to the next couple months.
Yeah. Also, breaking news.
Who was that? I'm sorry, you broke up.
Butterbean.
Butterbean. Hey, right on. And he's got truck deal. He got a truck deal coming up. I think he's in the '07 truck coming up here pretty quick. So moving up and moving out of the ARCA series, it looks like for at least for a week. We'll see if it gets to be a long-term deal or if maybe somebody else picks him up. But again, this guy is leading the points and looks like he's going to be in real good shape after this week.
Oh yeah. And what I'm curious about for club racing, our boys, Josh White, racing in Bristol. But what car number is he going to be in? Because he keeps saying he's going to be in the 03, but that's Alex's car for the whole season.
I'm not sure. That's a question for Mr. Club. Depends on. I know that the 86 is kind of a rent a ride, so I have a feeling it's going to be the 86, regardless of what Josh is saying. He's also got a car with a Chevy body on it, and that's not what Club has. He has all Ford bodies. He actually has another car he's building. So, again, I think more than likely he's going to be in that 86 car, but, we'll see what happens once the entry list comes out.
Mm-hmm. Because I do plan on being down in Bristol working with the team.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to meet up with him yet. I wanted to make the trek out to Dover today, but unfortunately, that's a 17-hour drive out to Dover, Delaware from the Kansas City area, and that really would have been taxing on this old man here. So I would have got there just in time to watch the green flag and throw my suit on. So, it's at some point I'm going to come out of retirement. I've been kind of sitting at home, and we busted a cylinder head in Ona, West Virginia, so we've been waiting to I'm in the middle of putting another motor together, something a little more substantial to run with the best of the best in the country. So I'll be back. This has been kind of a disastrous season personally and professionally. So we'll land on our feet. But anyway, you never know. I might put something together.
Yep.
In the future.
And then it was. Then it was announced today. This was NASCAR
what's
Chicago.
your thoughts?
All that you have done to make the NASCAR Street Race one of the most iconic global sports. Thoughts on what?
No, you're good. You're good. On this this lawsuit now, this lore now that's surrounding 2311 and front row. Again, yet another injunction, and
something's not right. It's like what gets me. Here's what gets me. You have one of the biggest basketball stars in the world. One of the biggest. I'm not going to say this out of respect to Denny Hamlin. One of the biggest stars in NASCAR. Plus, you got a long time. What gets me is like, why cannot they not come in agreement with this charge? Opinion? I feel like they should go back to the old days and let people have open cars and qualify the way in and use a provisional, champions provisional or provisional to make the race. That's my honest opinion with it.
Yeah, I mean trying this Formula One type concept where you get a guaranteed spot. We always want to talk about growing the sport. Growing the sport.
Mhm.
How does that grow the sport if you can't go out and build a car, especially with the single source stuff that they have imposed upon these teams? If you could go and build a car out of a catalog and go race it, it just doesn't grow the sport. If anything, they could, I could really see 2311 in front row just saying, you know what, we just won't show up if you're not going to pay us. From what I've collected, the open teams don't make a dime from NASCAR, but they have to rely on strictly sponsorship dollars to make the show and go race.
Yeah.
So, in my honest opinion, it does nothing to grow the sport. It's only and these cockamamie made up numbers for a guaranteed spot in a show where guys are shelling out
Mhm.
millions, tens of millions of dollars to get a guaranteed spot. It's not American.
No.
If we're all about free enterprise, make it to where anybody can build one of these things and go race them.
Like, for example, back in
That's,
I think it was what, 1990.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what it was back in 1990, from 1990 to 2500, they had 67 cars for 43 spots, trying to make or for 40 something spots to make the race in the 2500. Those were the days where you build yourself a car, go and attempt one of the biggest races of the year. IndyCar doesn't even when it comes to the IndyCar side, they don't even have the amount of cars anymore to have a bump day type deal for the Indianapolis 500. You either have 33 cars, or you have 34, or you have 33 cars and one driver trying to make the Indy 500 field. And is basically slowly difficult for drivers to attempt one of the biggest of the year.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, prior to COVID, I think they had like 35 or 36, but since 2020, IndyCar's entry list has been way, way down for the Indy 500. And there was some years there was no bumping on bump days. So is this a healthy sport when you're not sending cars home? No, it's not. Where the top half of the field is the only guys that are really making money off this. That's another problem with that, and everybody else is pay drivers. Back in Jordan, this is way before your time, and actually kind of before my time. But 2 years, NASCAR on Daytona 500 weekend would run what they called a consolation race. And current ARCA team owner, Wayne Peterson, competed in, I think, both of those consolation races. I think it was 83 and 84. And the guys that didn't make the show got to run the consolation race on a Thursday afternoon before the 500. And I mean, I think they televised it or at least videotaped it. And, the cars that didn't get the chance to race their way in, they got the race for a smaller purse. So nobody got hosed. But that was when you were drawing 80 cars, 60 cars. Look at the entry list for the inaugural race at Indianapolis for NASCAR, that Brickyard 400. You had names that hadn't started a cup race for several years. You had H.B. Bailey on that list. You had Danny Sullivan on that list. Anybody and every. I think AJ Foyt was on that list, and there was about 50 or 60 cars that showed up to make the show. You look at dirt racing, the big money dirt races, the high limit races, they draw a buttload of cars, and no one seems to be complaining about missing the show. The sponsors don't want to be involved if they're not going to make the show. Well, that's not true, because you're seeing it at every dirt race all over the country. So cut the crap. Here's the deal. This is the problem with NASCAR. The schedule's too damn long. The cost to get into it is too damn high. And you have 75% of the audience less of the audience that you had 25 years ago watching it. So it's a race to the bottom. Mm-hmm. So I think that I support the two teams. I support 23XI.
Yeah, me too.
And front row. This is kind of harkens back to the days of the old USAC kart battle back in the late 70s, where USAC had the keys to the kingdom. They had a tobacco company that wanted to throw as much money at IndyCar racing as Winston was throwing at NASCAR and the NHRA, and they bungled it because they had another popular driver that was sponsored by a rival cigarette company, and they didn't want to ruin that relationship. And they totally bungled it, and it set the teams back. It set the whole entire sport back decades, and they never got back to it.
It's just like, but it was also announced today that the Chicago Street Race will be on pause for 2026 and plans to 7.
It's another street race. I know that they're talking about doing San Diego too. If God wanted stock cars on a street course, he would have called it IMSA.
That is true. That's very true. But it's like that.
It's the IMSA, just IMSA GTO cars. Call them what they are.
What more can you say, right?
Yeah. And don't get it twisted. I love IMSA. I love sports car racing. I love the old Trans Am series. The Trans Am series, I think it's got some of the best racing going. And if you look at the cars, man, I'm like, geez, imagine if Hal would have built the next gen. That's what it would have looked like.
Yeah. And what's crazy is here's what I feel like for the Trans Am series. I feel like they should run their events with IMSA racing, and that way they can get some exposure, because Paul Menard just got his first Trans Am win at Watkins Glen this past weekend.
Yes, he did, and he's still out there and still kicking, boys and girls, and he's still kicking butt. That's and I think they stream those races on YouTube. They're trying real hard to try to get the. Yeah, I think they're trying real hard to get the fan base energized to get them back in the fold. They just don't have the buckage as some of the bigger forms of motorsport out there. You're going up against an Empire with IMSA. They're under that NASCAR banner. there's a lot of people competing for that dollar, and I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them get some more run. I don't see them piggybacking off of IMSA just because it's more the same. So it just things would get confusing in the mix there.
Yeah. But let's talk some racing. We had some good racing. Connor Zelich and SVG, put it that way. You know, I strap SVG into a car on a road course. Go ahead and declare him the winner at this point.
The dude's a wheel man. It's I think I've said it before. It's kind of like that SpongeBob meme. SVG on a oval, he's soft SpongeBob, but when he's on the road course, he's big muscle Bob. Yeah, he's unbeatable.
Right. That's very true. Oh, excuse me, the hell out of me. Woo. But no, and then we had, so we're gonna do a quick rundown. We had Connor Zelich win Sonoma for the Xfinity Series, and next year, I don't know if you caught this or not, but next year, all 3 series are gonna be at Sonoma next year.
So that's trucks, Cup, and Xfinity, right?
Yeah, as well as the truck, the Cup, and Xfinity are all racing Sonoma next year. So that's going to be interesting. The trucks at Sonoma. I can dig it.
I say screw Sonoma for the trucks. Take them to Kern County. Put them on a short track.
You know what? Speaking of Kern County, Keelan Harvick won over. I believe he won over the weekend in the third Harvick versus Harvick battle. So a lot on that side.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Future looks bright. We got some talent coming through.
That is very true. And then we got some IndyCar news. We're gonna recap the high limit racing from last night in just a moment. Alex Palou won Sunday's race 2 at Iowa Speedway, and another new face to add to this season for the IndyCar series. It was Pato O'Ward won this first Iowa race. Now because of the fan attendance, next year they're going to return to Iowa for the IndyCar series, but for only one race instead of 2. And the only racing that's sold out Iowa Speedway is the Cup Series race at Iowa Speedway coming up soon. So the IndyCar season schedule is supposed to be released soon, and rumor has it that Richmond has been added to the schedule, and a potential date return for Chicagoland Speedway next year for the IndyCar series as well.
Now we just need to get Michigan. Come on, Roger, make it happen.
Right. Because I tell you what,
we want Michigan.
Indy puts on some damn good races on these ovals. Some damn good races, especially old Auto Club Speedway. They always put on some 5 wide racing at Auto Club Speedway. I missed that track.
That was the best 500-mile race I ever saw. That Mav TV 500 out there. I mean, they sent out that place with a bang. They were running 4 and 5 wide. They were all over the track. Drivers were kind of bitching about the pack racing, which, I mean, after Las Vegas, I can understand. But with this aero screen, the car's a little safer, just something to think about. But I think with Michigan, I think it would be a good show. I think the problem is the lack of promotion with Iowa. One of the big glaring absences over that weekend was Hy-Vee was not involved with that race at all. Hy-Vee went all in. They built temporary luxury boxes inside of, I think it was outside of 1 and 2. They promoted the hell out of the race in their stores. They had a post-race concert on both nights. It takes promotion, boys and girls, to get butts in the seats. It's not going to just stand on its own. You got to tell people you're going to be there. The other issue that we had this past weekend is we had some severe weather up in the area. There was a tornado that I think got on the ground up there in the Newton area. So that's another thing that may have hurt attendance a little bit. But
they said it was in the attendance, yeah. Because they said that tornado was about 1.5 miles from the track.
Yeah, that could have been it
reminds me of bad.
Yeah, that could have been real bad.
Yeah, reminds me of Atlanta. Remember Atlanta Motor 4 years ago when Atlanta Motor Speedway had tornado?
Yeah. A lot of the old backstretch, which was the front stretch grandstand, was taken out in that tornado. So if you ever wonder why there's not a backstretch grandstand there anymore, it's not because SMI took it down. They kind of had to take it down for them.
Yeah, because it needed to be moved. But Nolan Siegel was cleared to return for Toronto this weekend following his injury he suffered at Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago. Scott Dixon received a 6th place grid drop for unapproved engine change today, so he will have to start 6 spots. So wherever he qualifies, he'll have to start in the back. Your top 10 from your first practice in Toronto was Kyle Kirkwood, Scott McLaughlin, Alex Palou, Marcus Armstrong, Will Power, Callum Illett, Pato Allward, David Malukas, Christian Lundgaard, and Colton Herta were your top 10 drivers in practice 1 today in Toronto. Scott McLaughlin officially has passport.
Right on, buddy. Did you see the big news, though? Who won the Indy NXT race or Indy Next race at Iowa?
Oh, that's yes, Miles Rowe becoming the first African American driver to win an Indy NXT race. I kid you not, that race, that driver earned that win. That has to be one of the greatest wins I've seen in a long ass time since Bubba Wallace got his first win at Talladega. I know I'm going to get criticized for that, and truthfully, I don't care.
Hey, this guy is the real deal, and we've never had a guy like this in IndyCar racing. I mean, now
No, sir.
years ago we had Willie T. Ribbs. Willie T. Ribbs also didn't have the equipment that Miles Rowe does. So this is something that's
Correct.
someone we need to watch, and maybe seeing him here within the next couple of years in the big cars.
And that was fan freaking tastic. All right. Well, so last night, did you happen to catch the high limit Joker jackpot race last night from Eldora Speedway?
I did not. I did see that Tony Stewart actually had the fixed defense.
He did. And I do have an update from Tyler Courtney's family, from his fiance, Asia. Tyler is out of surgery and is in post-op recovery. Doctors are pleased with the results and expect a full recovery over the next few months. Please keep coming. As well as we still do have a long journey ahead, and we appreciate it very much. That was me from Clausen Marshall Racing. Very, very bad accident last night at Eldora. So thank God he's okay. High Limit put on a damn show last night, and Kyle Larson away to victory. There's no surprise there. There was no surprise there. You put Kyle Larson in a dirt car, why don't you just go ahead and give him the trophy already?
He's become Mr. Automatic in a dirt car. It's just like SVG on a road course anymore.
Right. That is true. If I remember way back in 2020, Sony was like, "Oh, Kyle Larson, he'll never race again. He'll never have this and that." He goes to the dirt, wins almost 200 damn races on the dirt in one damn season. Does it again in 2021. Not only wins the Cup Championship, wins a bunch of dirt championships, and he continues to do his damn thing. He's won the Chili Bowl. It's like people doubt Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is blood, sweat, and tears of dirt racing.
He's really the closest thing we have to a Tony Stewart or to AJ Foyt. I mean, anything you put him in, he's going to win. And, I like a good comeback story. What he did was stupid.
It was.
Can't say that. You can't say that word. You can't say that word on a live stream. And, I thought, I was with a lot of people. I was like, well, his career's gone. If he does come back, he'll be driving for, some small team, if that.
But then, boom, but surprise, he signs with Hendrick Motorsports, and the rest is history.
America loves a good comeback story. I mean, that's why he's over with everybody. He worked his ass off to get back. You cannot deny that. The dude has got. The dude's a wheel man. So, you can't deny talent.
No.
You can sit there and say, well, but it's like, no. Scoreboard. 200 features in a year. That
Mhm.
is, that's Dick Trickle type numbers. That's Larry Phillips type numbers. I mean, those guys didn't get to the Cup Series until late in their career. Phillips never
Ab-
really got a decent shot at it. But we're talking world class talent, and with dirt racing being not only on, I think dirt racing is really kind of the fastest growing spectator sport in the United States because of Flow Racing and Dirt Vision and all these streaming services that have gotten involved and gotten the sport to where it's out in front of all of the eyeballs. It's not just one night a week.
Correct.
I remember the days of ESPN Thunder showing the
Mhm.
USAC Silver Crown cars. That's where we all got to see Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman and um, Rich Vogler. Um, those guys all cut their teeth in front of the entire country on that show. But now you've got ESPN Thunder on every single night on these streaming services. And let's face it, it's not just us that are watching. It's talent scouts with these cup teams and sponsors. So if they see talent, they're going to go get it.
Mhm. My dad is now. My dad's now a dirt racer. So my brother, my sister race dirt. My dad races dirt. So, so you play iRacing, correct?
I used to. I started racing the real car, and I kind of gave up the iRacing, but I still got the wheel and stuff.
Okay. So, so over the weekend they had the 24 hours of spa on iRacing, and some unacceptable behavior was done by a couple of players, where players was intentionally wrecking people out of the race. And 5 hours ago, iRacing released its official statement. The context seen during last weekend's Spa 24-hour event, where a team intentionally ruined other drivers' races, was completely unacceptable. While we don't typically comment on disciplinary matters, the public nature of this incident warrants a response. Decisive action was taken, and the drivers involved were suspended indefinitely from the iRacing service. iRacing does not tolerate this kind of behavior in special events or any session. We take these incidents seriously, and our protest team reviews every protest received and responds accurately. We appreciate the community's passion and support in helping us maintain a fair, competitive, and fun entertainment. Spaghetti 5 comes out September 4th on PlayStation 5 and X.
I'm excited. I want my cover. I want my Alex Club cover copy. I gotta have it, Alex. We got to get one made up. I got to have a one of a kind cover put together.
Right. But also, dang.
Hey, he's going to be in the game. He's going to be in the game, so it's going to be
Right?
awesome.
EA Sport. It's in the game.
If EA was still involved,
Anyway.
I'd have to do. I'd have to do one of those. I'd have to do one of those videos.
Right. That is true. Did you happen to catch the ESPYs on Wednesday night? Max Verstappen once again won the driver of the year for the ESPYs. No surprise there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really follow Formula One super close. I mean, I know who he is. I know who his daddy is. But it's good to see Formula One get some run, especially here in the United States. They've really struggled with this market. It seems like they've done really well with the Netflix show, and having the races on ESPN seems to really, really work for them. And they, good to see them get some hardware.
What else do we got going on this weekend? Oh, let's talk about our driver of the races for last weekend. I told mine just slipped away for a second. All right, so last week, Kyle Busch was our driver of the race at Sonoma for the Cup Series. Shane Gisbergen was your winner. Alex Pillow and Onward won Iowa races 1 and 2. Nicholas Sanchez was your 4-wide media driver of the race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Sonoma. Connor Zilic was your winner. Miles Rowe got your historic victory. Great weekend of racing last weekend. This weekend I believe we have Formula One back this weekend, but I could be wrong. Once again, since it already happened, let's take a look at the results from today's General Tires 150 at Dover. Is almost a title sponsor for every oof. So Tim Gauntlet of these Motorsports was winner of the General Tire Spirit Award.
All right. Way to go, Tim. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Tim's all right guy. He's always been nice to me. He's a good guy. He just, but it's just congratulations to him, and good to see a small organization like that get some run. And Tim does everything but pop the corn for that team, from driving to crew chief to hell. I think he's even changed tires, drove the hauler. Pretty much is Rise Motorsports. So,
So I'm not finding any ARCA results for Dover just yet. But Brent Cruz.
Probably still running them through tech.
Most likely, yeah. But Brent Cruz. Oh, okay, I found them actually. Here they are. Dover results. Here we go. All right. Your race results. Oh, I log on to racingnews.com, and guess whose car I see? The number 86. Made the front page. Racingnews.com.
That's huge.
Let's
more pink and blue.
Busto got a 3rd place finish, so congratulations to her. Was 4th. Tyler Reef was Timmy Hill. Was 6th. Finch, who will be racing tomorrow in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, finished 7th. Jason Takuma Kogo was 15th. Our good friend Brayton Lester was our boy. Our good friend Alex 18th. Corey Aiken 19th. Brent Cruz, who had a Fury crash, finished 21st. Tony Costello from right here in Ohio was 22nd. Blaine Donahue was 23rd, and rounding out your 24 car field was Matt Kemp.
Yes, all day. I mean, nice top 20 for the timeless Brad Smith made his ARCA debut way back in 1988. He's got over, I think, 500 starts now.
Oh, this damn connection again. Son of a biscuit. All right. So who do we have winning Xfinity tomorrow? I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier.
Well, let's see. Where are we racing at? I can't remember. Dover?
Dover.
Dover. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. I'll second that. I think Justin Allgaier might be a factor tomorrow. That's they're due. See who's on the list here.
This is for everybody. So I don't think F1 is racing this weekend. I don't think. No. No, Formula One returns next weekend at Belgium. Did you figure it out yet?
I'm looking at the entry list here, trying to get to the entry list. This is what happens when I don't have two screens. Yeah, I don't.
That's that.
I'll go with. I'm gonna go with his Junior Motorsports teammate. I think Zilich has a good chance of winning. Had a pretty good year so far.
And then for the Cup side, oh yeah, absolutely. And then for the Cup side of things, I said I was going to go with he wins a damn race. Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch again. I think let's take a look here. I think I'm going to go with Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is going to be a factor.
What? That may actually be a factor. That's true. I mean, for a while there, it's been one heck of. It's been a great season so expected, right?
Anything can happen in NASCAR racing.
You're either going to have you're going to have somebody dominate the entire race, or you're going to have back and forth like we've seen at a lot of the intermediate tracks this year. I'll tell you what, this next gen car, as much safety as they put, I saw the aftermath of car Carson Ware's crash. Holy moly! How did
Yeah, Cody Ware's crash is Cody, but yeah, and think about this. I mean, that was at like 100 miles an hour. I mean, yeah, an extra
Whoops.
50 miles an hour. I shudder to think. What would have happened. You know, at this rate, after seeing that, I'd rather be in my bang banger hitting the wall at 100 miles an hour than being in a next gen.
If it wasn't for that tire barrier?
Well, the racetrack was designed stupidly too. You know, you look at IndyCar. IndyCar designs these tracks to have a runoff area at the end of the straightaway. They didn't do that here. You know, you look at the wreck at, I think it was Detroit this year in the IndyCar series. Guy has a suspension failure coming to a tight corner.
Mm-hmm.
He cleans like another car out, but he doesn't hit a wall at the end of it. He goes into a tire barrier, a large tire barrier, at the end of a long runoff area. I don't understand their reasoning for it. I don't know what they got for I don't know what the track designer got for putting the wall there, but it should be 3 to 5 years. I just don't understand why you don't have a runoff area there with a lot of tires, not just one row. I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 rows of tires, not 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're going to run street courses, you're going to have to design runoffs. You're going to have to, you're going to have to use your brain if you're going to put them together. And that's going to have to change. And this car is way too damn stiff in the front still. I just don't understand after looking at that and hearing about the breakage in the Hans device and the seat mounts moving. That tells me that everything is going directly to the driver's compartment. All the energy is going directly to the driver's compartment. That's not how we built these things. Again, I just don't understand how they could build these cars and allegedly test them and crash test them and still have these problems. When did we start running these cars? 2021? 4 years into it. We've already shortened one guy's career. We almost shortened someone's life a couple weeks ago. You know, and me and a buddy of mine, I talked to primetime Chuck Ellison. I said, I think it's going to have to take for somebody to die in one of these before they make the move and say, okay, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we made the wrong move here. You know, but there's a lot of NASCAR apologists. There's a guy that operates another page that was like, well, how many people have been killed in this car? I said, none yet. You know, it's the what ifs that scare the hell out of me. I remember watching Dale's crash at Daytona.
So do
I remember seeing the aftermath of Adam Petty. You know, this is real life. You know, you can't put these cars together and rush them to market and just constantly have to tinker. It you know,
right.
you it's either you get it right or you don't. And you already had a very, very, very safe car in the COT/Gen 6. Um, that car, you could have drove it off the Empire State Building and lived. Could you say the same thing about a next gen? No. Um,
No.
I think it all boils down to one thing. When you've got guys that are engineers like Ryan Newman that have been in the Cup Series a long time, I have a feeling that Ryan Newman took one look at that car and said, "Oh hell no," and went to go race modifieds instead.
And that's what he's doing now.
And those modifieds aren't exactly safe either. We killed a guy in a modified not too long ago, the late John Blewett. So, you know, they're way better than they used to be. But I look at this car and I see an unfinished, rushed, um, very mediocre product.
Yeah. And then we also got IndyCar in Toronto. You know, I've been saying all season is Alex Pillow, but now emerging. We got Pato O'Ward emerging and Scott Dixon emerging. Of course, Kyle Kirkwood. You know, it's Toronto. It's gonna be interesting weekend, but I'm gonna say that Joe's gonna pull away with the victory. But I could be totally wrong.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that Scott Dixon is going to be the one to beat at Toronto. Um, it's a track that takes a lot of patience, a lot of give and take. He's been around a long time, and the cream always rises to the top. And here comes Scotty D. He's going to mount a charge here late in the season. Watch out for him. Watch out for Pato. He's not going to be able to run away and hide. They're going to have to. Old number 10 is going to have to get up on the wheel if he's going to be a factor at the end of this thing, or he runs the chance of getting it robbed from him.
You know. And then some news to report. A pioneer of the sport, NASCAR Hall of Famer and 1960 Cup champion Rex White passed away at the age of 90.
It's sad to hear. Lived a full life and
Yeah,
95 years old. That's a good run.
You know, and here is a quick rundown. Here's a quick rundown of his career. He began his racing career in 1956. Went on the big car champion, winning the 1960 Grand. He secured 28 wins, 36 poles, 163 top 10 finishes, 233 races. He was known for his consistency and speed, earning the most popular driver award in 19. White's legacy extends beyond his on-track accomplishment, as he was inducted into the National Motorsports Press Association Hall of Fame and the greatest drivers. He leaves behind a remarkable of motorsports. So our thoughts and our prayers goes to Rex White's family, and the NASCAR Hall of Famer passes at 95 years old.
Godspeed, Rex.
And in the extreme sports, I know this is not racing related, but Felix Baumgartner, the Red Bull athlete who jumped from the stratosphere in 2012, has tragically died in a paragliding accident in Italy.
Oh, tragic news. Lived his whole life on the edge. Had that stratosphere jump a couple years ago. That takes brass balls. If you haven't seen the video of it,
Yeah.
you need to. I mean, just that's sad news to hear, man.
Yeah. But I will keep you guys updated on what's going on with the show. If I have to give one of you two the login information for Restream, I will be glad to do it. But enjoy the racing this weekend, guys. This has been 4Wide Media.
Right,
and Everett, keep kicking some ass, my friend.
One of these days, I'll be back on the racetrack too. We'll update y'all once that happens.
All right. So, Chris, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Well, you know what? Screw it. Enjoy the racing weekend. Enjoy the races this weekend. Have a safe weekend, and we will see you all next week. Once again, congratulations to Brandon Butterbean Queen for winning today's Arkham Menard Series East and Main Series combination race at Dover Speedway. And don't miss the Speedway Classic between the Cincinnati Reds and Atlanta Braves live on Fox August 2nd from Bristol Motor Speedway. Have you seen the images of Bristol Motor Speedway with the baseball field all set in place?
I've seen the pictures, like the renderings of it, but I have not seen it.
It looks nice, and it's a shame it's only for one game. But hey, it's going to be a fun game to watch. For those of you who are listening and you are baseball fans and you're not able to watch the Cincinnati Reds games or the Cleveland Guardians games, a second. Bristol Motor Speedway. Until then, I'm Button Media. Oh, come on, in stream.